Hello there, this is Dana Arcuri, author, speaker, survivor, advocate, certified trauma recovery coach, and certified master energy practitioner at danaarcuri.com. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any new content. And if you are returning, welcome back. It is wonderful to have you here. Today's topic is deeply concerning, especially because I've been doing extensive research in regards to the long-term implications of narcissistic abuse. A few years ago, when I wrote my book on breaking free from narcissistic abuse and healing trauma, and the book called Soul Rescue, there were a lot of information that lacked credibility on what are the long-term implications. How does narcissistic abuse affect our brain, our body, and our health? And so what I have learned over these past 5 years is that there is always new research and scientific evidence being proven today a lot more than even 2 years ago. And I think in the coming years, there will be a lot more credible information also coming through that we can clearly understand. Yes, narcissistic abuse is not only hurting you, it is destroying your brain, your body, and your health. And so today's topic is called Narcissistic Abuse Wreaks Havoc on Your Brain and Body, Shocking Facts. So this is a really hard pill to swallow, especially because I myself personally know that a lot of abuse and trauma survivors will later on in their older years manifest some very serious medical and mental health conditions. And I myself am dealing with the aftermath of narcissistic abuse, even after being no contact, even after doing so many years of the healing journey. And so let's talk about this and take a deep dive into these credible facts on the internet. According to Medical News Today, quote unquote, narcissistic abuse is a form of abuse stemming from narcissistic behaviors. It can be emotional, psychological, or physical. Narcissistic characteristics can include volatile behavior, lack of empathy, and aggression. Narcissistic abuse may include gaslighting, constant criticism, humiliation, and coercion. The long-term effects of narcissistic abuse come with many devastating consequences, especially for those who were raised by either a narcissistic mother, father, sibling, or caregiver. So simply stated, if you grew up in a dysfunctional family with one or more narcissists, there is medical evidence and scientific proof that children who are scapegoated by the narcissist can suffer a wide range of medical and mental health conditions. Ongoing narcissistic abuse changes your brain, your body, and your health. If you remain in a relationship with the narc, you could suffer very serious long-term implications that could be extremely traumatic and disabling. Let's chat about the 17 health conditions linked to narcissistic abuse. Number 1, autoimmune conditions, and a few are lupus, Lyme disease, MS, and fibromyalgia. Next would be thyroid conditions, and a few are hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. Number 3 is complex PTSD and PTSD. There's a big difference between complex PTSD and PTSD. Just regular PTSD is a one-time event of a traumatic experience. Compounded and complex PTSD is when there's a vicious cycle of many, many times you have been abused and traumatized. And so with this whole situation, growing up with a potential narcissistic parent, sibling, caregiver, or someone else, it is very common that this is complex PTSD because it's not just a one-time event. We all know with the narcissist, it goes on and on and on and on, even after you cut the ties from them. Let's move forward to number 4, another mental health condition that is disabling and troubling for many people who have suffered narcissistic abuse is depression and anxiety. I know a lot of you are dealing with this, and I'm just sending you tender, loving care today because I know it is not easy. Next is number 5, gut health issues. So there's a lot of gut health issues. Remember, the gut is considered your second brain. So a lot of what you're experiencing that can impact your brain, it also impacts your gastrointestinal health. So some of the conditions include leaky gut syndrome, IBS, Crohn's, having a gluten sensitivity, etc., etc. Number 6 is the amygdala brain damage. So there is memory loss, lack of focus, cognitive issues, and there are MRIs and brain scans that have proven that there are scapegoats who have these medical tests, such as a brain scan or MRI, and it is showing, yes, it is lit up, just lit up. What this means is that your amygdala, that part of your brain, is deeply damaged due to narcissistic abuse. Number 7 is your central nervous system is damaged, irregulated, and not balanced, which is very common for abuse and trauma survivors. So your body is flooded by cortisol, adrenaline, and many different hormones. You may be constantly reliving trauma over and over again, and this is also a very troubling concern for anyone who was scapegoated by the narcissist. Number 8 is emotional liability. You may have mood swings, depersonalization, irritability, etc., etc. Number 9 is cancer. That one's another hard pill to swallow. And there is a lot of information out there that is stating they really believe that the number one reason why a person could end up with cancer after narcissistic abuse is because of the high stress levels, the dysregulated central nervous system, and the damage of the amygdala brain. There's serious concern for being in a relationship with a narcissist because we obviously do not want a deadly terminal disease. Number 10 is emotional trauma, and very likely this could turn into compounded trauma because compounded trauma is when there's a repetition of abuse and trauma. And in most cases with a narcissist, it's not just a one-time event. Once again, this is chronic abuse. Number 11 is chronic fatigue syndrome. 12 is migraines and cluster headaches. Number 13, you might have eating disorders, addictions, etc., etc. Number 14, high blood pressure, insomnia or nightmares. Number 16, chronic pain. And number 17, there could be suicidal thoughts, ideation, or even suicidal attempts. Obviously, this is all a huge concern for anyone who has been scapegoated, suffered child abuse, any form of narcissistic abuse, whether you were young or old, or all of the above. So after experiencing narcissistic abuse, many people find themselves stuck in a cycle where the abuser continues to contact them after the relationship has ended. The narcissist may hoover you or love bomb you because they're trying to get you back. Remember, they need narcissistic supply. They crave it. They cannot go on without it. Your goal is to starve the narcissist. And next is that when we go no contact, it is common that the narcissist will threaten us, manipulate us, retaliate against us, and create smear campaigns. And many of us have experienced it. You could leave your comments down below if you have too. Victims of narcissistic abuse live in a chronic state of hypervigilance. They're in survival mode. The one important fact is trauma survivors cannot heal when they are stuck in a cycle of survival mode. It is common for the scapegoat to be slammed with fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. It is normal and common. This is a trauma response. And the bottom line is, it does not matter who the narcissist is. It doesn't matter if it's your mother, your father, your siblings, an ex-spouse, a caregiver, a relative, etc., etc. There is hope for healing. There is hope for brighter days. And we have to understand that in these studies and medical information on how to recover from narcissistic abuse, the one thing that keeps coming up is they say, go no contact. Now, what they did is a study where they were following this one patient who has MS, and they did some brain scans and MRIs in which her brain was just lit up. She was not well. And then 6 years later, after she was no contact for an entire timeline of 6 years, they could see, oh, her brain is calming down. Oh, her central nervous system's becoming more balanced. Wow, she has less symptoms. And so this is extremely important, that if we want to heal from narcissistic abuse and any toxic, abusive, psychologically damaging relationships, the key is to rescue ourselves. Today, I'm sending every one of you love and light, and I sure hope that you take care of yourself. Do what you need to do to improve your quality of life. If you have experienced any type of medical or mental health conditions, share down below. What have you suffered? What are you going through? What do you believe might be linked to narcissistic abuse? Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and you could visit me at danaarcuri.com. Thank you and have a beautiful day.